Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea.
Thank you so much for tuning into Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into a really influential book, Jim Collins' Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make the Leap and Others Don't.
A classic.
Absolutely. And the whole thing started with this big question, right? Can a company that's just good actually become great? And how?
Yeah, and they didn't just guess. It was this huge, 5-year research project.
Exactly. Rigorous stuff. And the findings were, well, pretty stunning. The companies that made the leap, the good to great ones, they averaged stock returns 6.9 times the general market.
Wow.
Yeah, over 15 years after they transform. It shows greatness isn't just, talk. It's measurable.
And what I find really interesting is what they found didn't matter. The things everyone assumes drive greatness.
Like what?
Well, for instance, the big, flashy celebrity CEO hired from outside.
The savior CEO.
Yeah. Right. Turns out that was negatively correlated. Almost all the leaders, 10 of the 11 good to great ones, were insiders. Quietly effective people.
Yeah.
And things like, super complex strategic plans or how executives were paid, those weren't the deciding factors either.
So it wasn't about bringing in a rock star or having some grandmaster plan necessarily?
Not primarily, no. It seems the foundations were maybe a bit more fundamental, less about the external quick fixes.
Okay, so if it's not the rock star CEO, what kind of leadership did work? That brings us to level 5 leadership, doesn't it?
Exactly. Level 5. It's this interesting blend of real personal humility, deep humility, coupled with intense professional will.
Intense will. Okay. Give me an example.
Well, Collins uses Darwin Smith at Kimberly-Clark. Not exactly a household name, right?
No, can't say any of them.
But he quietly made this incredibly bold move. He sold off their traditional paper mills, the core business.
Well,
yeah, to go all in, competing against giants like P&G and consumer products. Think Huggies, Kleenex. It wasn't about him. It was about the company thriving long term.
That's a huge contrast to, say, Lee Iacocca at Chrysler, who became this massive personality.
Right. And sometimes, Collins argues, that kind of egocentric leadership can actually hurt the company later, especially after they leave. It connects to another big idea. First who, then what?
Ah, yes. Get the right people on the bus.
And the wrong people off the bus.
Before you figure out where to drive it. Don't start with the destination. Start with the team. Avoid that genius with 1,000 helpers model.
Precisely. And that internal drive, that will part of level 5, it needs fuel. That's where confronting the brutal facts comes in.
Okay.
It's based on the Stockdale paradox. You need this unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end.
Okay, the optimism.
But at the same time, you absolutely must confront the harshest realities of your current situation. No sugarcoating.
So blind optimism is bad, but so is cynicism.
Exactly. Think about Kroger. They faced the changing grocery market head-on and transformed. A&P kind of stuck its head in the sand and declined.
Or Pitney Bowes, right.
Right.
They faced losing their postal monopoly. Addressograph didn't adapt as well.
Right. And creating that climate where truth can be heard is vital. Collins talks about leaders asking questions, not just giving answers. Like Alan Wurtzel at Circuit City, known as the prosecutor for his questioning style.
And doing autopsies without blame.
Yeah, like Philip Morris openly analyzing why their 7-Up acquisition failed. Learning from mistakes without finger-pointing. Or having red flag mechanisms so bad news surfaces quickly.
So it's about realism and resilience. No single magic moment. Which leads nicely into the flywheel effect.
Mm-hmm. No miracle moment. That's key.
It's not about one big push or some revolutionary program. It's more like pushing a giant heavy flywheel.
Inch by inch.
Yeah, relentlessly, turn after turn, building momentum slowly, consistently in one direction until, boom, breakthrough.
And that direction is guided by the hedgehog concept.
A hedgehog, okay. Refresh me on the 3 circles.
It's finding the intersection of 3 things. 1, what can you be the best in the world at? And be honest about that.
Right, not just good at, but best.
2, What drives your economic engine? What's your key metric? That single profit per X, like Walgreens focusing intensely on profit per customer visit.
Okay, best in the world economic engine.
And three, what are you deeply passionate about? What do you really care about?
So where those three circles overlap, that's your hedgehog, your core focus.
That's where you put all your energy, pushing that flywheel. Walgreens just kept focusing on convenient locations and maximizing that profit per visit year after year.
It sounds almost simple, boring even.
It could seem that way. Relentless consistency isn't always glamorous. But the results, as you said, 6.9 times the market. That consistency is the power.
It really reframes success, doesn't it? Away from sudden breakthroughs towards sustained effort.
And look, these ideas, they aren't just for Fortune 500 companies. That core message, good is the enemy of great, that applies everywhere.
You mean like in nonprofits, schools?
Absolutely, or even in your own personal goals or projects. Choosing to strive for great, building that momentum, confronting what's not working. It isn't necessarily harder than just settling for good enough. In fact, Collins argues it can be more energizing, more meaningful, because you're focused on something you genuinely care about and can excel at.
That makes sense. The drudgery of mediocrity versus the focused energy of striving for something important.
It's a powerful choice.
Which brings us to the final thought for you, listening right now. If this path to greatness that Collins lays out is clearer, if the results are so much better, and if the actual process can be more engaging and meaningful, then really what's stopping you from aiming for great direct in whatever it is you're building or pursuing?
A challenging question to end on.
If you're enjoying what you hear, please consider taking a moment to subscribe, rate, like, and comment on any of the platforms you're listening from. This really helps support our channel and allows us to get better and bring you even more great content.
If today's review sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. Not only does it make it easy for you to get your hands on the book, but it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being a part of the Daily Review community.